Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Glory Reds podcast. It's your boy Don Benito, and do we have a very juicy one for you because it is deal day, baby, deal day. Matthias de Ligt and Mazraoui are in Manchester. They completed the medicals yesterday, and we are expecting to see them holding up the shirt and signing the contract, baby. Woo! Ineos, salute, Ineos, because, hey, you know, I mean, I don't know how you were going to look at it. I don't know if you thought that perhaps these guys were not going to do this deal, but it seemed like it. It seemed like things had stalled, and it seemed like nothing was going to move, and it seemed like it was going to be another one of those weird summers where we go into the season with not even knowing how we we're going to do, with no signings, keeping players, and all of that jazz. And that has changed because, oh my God. Oh, now, honestly, I am impressed with Ineos. I am happy. I am calm because, last season was so bad. It was so bad. And when you try to find the little positives in last season and you compare, and then you compare them to the changes that are happening right now, as a Manchester United fans, we are just there like this, rubbing our hands together because you know what? Things are moving. So, what are we going to be talking about today? De Ligt and Mazraoui will be signing at Manchester United today. Hopefully, we'll get to see them next to the gaffer and in the kits and training with the boys. And yeah, like, in fact, we'll jump more into what these guys are going to do for Manchester United or what they're going to bring into Manchester United. But Wan-Bissaka, this deal was very possible because Aaron Wan-Bissaka agreed to go to West Ham. So Wan-Bissaka, I think, has completed his medicals at West Ham. I don't know when they're going to announce him as a West Ham player. We're gonna do a little video for Wan-Bissaka, to say thank you, because he's another player. Well, he's a player that was unfortunately put up for sale. There was nothing really wrong with Wan-Bissaka. He's still a decent defender, but we want changes. We want to move forward. We want to improve. So this deal had to be done. And then I read somewhere that there was a bid in for De Jong. This De Jong situation, like, it gives me anxiety because, that's another story that we just, I don't know. Manchester United, we get linked to players and players stay linked to us for long periods of time. And then the other player that is linked to Manchester United is Rafinha. Apparently, Rafinha has been a player that has been on the books for Manchester United. I believe it, but at the same time, I don't believe it, because when you look at the initial list of players that were being brought into Manchester United or that were going to come to Manchester United, Rafinha wasn't one of them. Even De Jong wasn't one of them. So it is crazy. Or I was actually surprised when I read the story that now we are in for these two players. So in order for those players to come in, certain conditions need to be met, of course. So let's jump right into it, guys. De Ligt and Mazraoui. Come on. I'm going to start with De Ligt because you know what a player. We've just signed a leader, a proper leader. Actually, we have, in a weird way, in terms of leadership, we have brought in, like, we didn't extend Varane's contract, right? He was a leader. Him and Martinez in that center-back pairing were lit. They were our leaders. The only one left now is the Butcher. So now having another leader, another strong, bulldog, tough, strong player, player with good personality, good character, can play the high line, which we are expecting to play. Very strong in the air, very strong player, very strong character, personality, everything. and he's going to complement the Butcher, and it is just like for like. So I'm really excited. And then in Mazraoui, we've bought ourselves uh, a hybrid or utility fullback because he can play left, he can play right. Obviously, we have Delo on the right that side, so it's going to be like in a situation where if Delo is if Luke Shaw is not fit, Mazraoui will be able to play on the left and Delo will play on the right. But I'm curious as to between Mazraoui and Delo who starts, because I can guarantee you right now, if Luke Shaw is fit and he comes back, he just slots into that spot. So I see Luke Shaw retaining his left back position unless otherwise. And then I see Mazraoui and Delo duking it out for that right position. Now, who's going to win? That's going to be a very interesting battle. It's going to be a very interesting competition. Very interesting duel between two right backs trying to cement that position. So I'm excited about that. I really, really am excited about that. But the biggest take out from this is the fact that last season we had a very terrible season. Very, very terrible. We were trying to have a conversation on the Glory Reds chat, and we were like, you know what? In a very strange way, and please don't get me wrong, don't try and break down what I'm saying too much. But listen to this. Last season, as bad as our season was, right? When you compare what our strikers and what our defenders did, né? This is how I was looking at it, and this is the improvement. And you, let me make my point. Let me land. So our strikers and our attacking didn't do particularly well. Oh, they did bad actually. And then our defense also did bad. But our defense, there's an argument to be had, right? We didn't have our best defenders available at all times. Switching up defensive strategies all the time, defensive pairings, who's full back, what we were chopping and changing. And even after that, as weird as this might sound, our defense managed to do or have better performances than our attackers. When you're comparing it within the club, within the team, I felt like last season, our defense, despite its frailties and its weaknesses, it held its own. Our attackers, as strong as we were, because last season, our attackers, who was missing? Who was injured for long periods of time? And okay, apart from Sancho having his little debacle with the Gaffer not wanting to play, other than that, like, what were serious issues in the front tag apart from them not scoring? Yes, Rasmus Højlund was in and out, and Rashford was just not ticking, but they had a better chance of performing better than our defenders. And our defenders, and I know you guys are gonna be looking at me and saying, "Ben, what the fuck are you saying, dude? We were so terrible." Which is what Tambo said in the group. He was like, it makes no sense," and I get that. But I am isolating the scenarios and I'm isolating the situations because I was trying to make a point. So you look at now, we've brought in 3 defenders. Yes, one is injured, but he is mint. But we've brought in defenders to complement. So we have Martinez, we have Ligt, we have Mazraoui, we have Euro, we have Delo, we have Luke Shaw, we have Amas, maybe Murray, I don't know. And we have Malasia. I don't know if we're thinking about adding in another defender, but I think we are sorted out unless some weirdness is going to happen, which I don't expect. Maguire is still there. Victor Lindelof is still there. I don't see any of them leaving. So there's always going to be a backup defender. So we are good. In the defensive department, we are good. And I'm happy. And we have improved it. If something happens and we just somehow start leaking in goals, then I don't know. But our defense right now, the way it's looking, oh, it is sexy. It is sexy. Manchester United defense, ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. The only thing left is for these players to play so that we can gauge them and see Wagwan. But De Ligt and Mazraoui passed their medicals, and these boys might be in for the game against Fulham on Friday. Are you kidding me? Like, aren't you guys excited? Like, there's there's this feeling of like, hey, we are Manchester. Hey, I'm buzzing, man. I'm buzzing. I know it's premature, but I am buzzing. And then we move on now to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, a great servant of Manchester United. You know, there was a story that was like, listen, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got it wrong with Wan-Bissaka. Listen, for me, Wan-Bissaka, hands down, is one of the best one-on-one defenders in the world. Wan-Bissaka. On a good day, when he's fit, form, playing, he's on it. He's one of the best fullback, like, one-on-one defenders in the world. You can't get past Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It just is what it is, you know. And when he's possessed and in his element, you're lying. You're lying. You're not getting past. You're not getting through. That's what Wan-Bissaka is. Unfortunately for Wan-Bissaka, to me, the way I feel it and the way I see people not really connecting with Wan-Bissaka, I felt like Wan-Bissaka is an awkward kind of player. He's not easy on the eye. He's not pleasing on the eye. He's an acquired taste, basically. You know, if you look at Wan-Bissaka play, you can easily just dislike him based on how his body moves and the way he plays or something like that. But his duties, what he does, and especially the little improvement that he had ever since Erik ten Hag jumped into the club, like I never understood it, but I understood as Manchester United that we are trying to build a team. We're trying to revolutionize our team, and if changing Wan-Bissaka was part of it, like, look, I'm cool with it. I'm hurt. I'm disappointed, unfortunately, but hey, it is what it is. I support Manchester United. I want Manchester United to do better. So I'm not going to keep on holding on. Remember when I said, like, we are those guys that used to hold on to players? I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. It's going to be very interesting to see Wan-Bissaka against us. It's gonna be, like, who is he going to be playing against? Like, if he'll be playing against Rashford or Garnacho. He's going to put those guys in their pocket, I am telling you. So it's just one of those things where it's like, it was a great servant for us. You know, people say it was a flop. I don't know. But for me, I honestly don't think so. I really don't think so. Unfortunately for Wan-Bissaka, he was bought way more than he costed. You know, we bought him for, I think, 40 or 50 mil. And at the time, for a player that has even made a debut for England, it's like wild. You know, and that was Manchester United back in the days. We were just buying players for the sake of buying. Like, I'm loving the new Ineos regime because they're not taking shit. You understand? They are not sitting there and letting people bend them over and just take a piss. No, they're not doing that. If you want to be funny with your price and your player, all right, hang on to it. We'll move on to the next. You know, so there's that feeling amongst Indians that we're not going to be pushovers. We're not going to be bullied in the transfer market. You know, if you don't want to sell your player, cool. We'll move somewhere else to look for another player. So I'm loving that attitude. So with that being said, you know, Wan-Bissaka, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the Spider, thank you for all your great work at Manchester United. Man, you were truly one of my favorites, you know, because I was always comfortable in that right side. I was like, listen, if the Spider is there, if he has casted his web there, there is nothing that is getting past it. Yes, he had his moments of weaknesses there, you know, back post thing, but he improved. He did. It was not his fault that he costed 50 mil. If we had bought Wan-Bissaka at the time, maybe for 20 or 30 or even 25 or even 15, he would still probably be at Manchester United. He will, because we wouldn't have been able to sell him for this 15. The only reason why we're able to sell him for 15 is because we bought him for 50. Now imagine if we bought him for that much. Were we still going to be able to sell him for this much? Or was his price going to go up? I don't know. I don't think so. So, salute Wan-Bissaka. All the best at West Ham. West Ham is a good team. Lopetegui there is doing good. He's cooking something. I would love to see them stay in. I'll be watching Wan-Bissaka. I like to watch my ex-players that leave Manchester United. I don't know, just keep track of them, see what they're doing, you know, see how they're holding up, see how if they're improving, you know, because there's always this thing at Manchester United that players come to die. their careers come to die at Manchester United. Whenever they leave Manchester United, something changes, like a rejuvenation or something, or new life, and I don't want that. Not that I don't want that, I can't control it, but I like to watch it and see it. Like, oh, for real. So at Manchester, because, another player that I can give you an example of, Anthony Elanga. Anthony Elanga, after leaving Manchester United, is just grown wings and he's spreading them and he's just, I'm not saying at the time like he could have, because he would have had to be dealing with Garnacho, Ahmad, Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, and it is what it is. It happens. But yeah, so United are in for De Jong, which was a strange one. Apparently, we are in for De Jong, and the only way this apparently there was a bid that was put in for De Jong, a 50 mil bid, and was rejected by Barcelona. I don't know what is the obsession with De Jong. I mean, I know what the obsession is with De Jong. I understand the kind of player that he is and what he brings to the club. I do. I understand his position. I understand his qualities. I know why Erik ten Hag wants him. But we have Kobe Mainoo now. We have Collier now. We have Dango. I don't know what's happening with Dango. I don't know where Dango is, but Dango is there. We've got Casemiro at the time. But now, I mean, Casemiro looks like he's not going. This is staying. But I don't think he's going to last at Manchester United, in the sense that I don't see him lasting beyond next season. I don't. And maybe that's why they're looking into bringing in Frankie de Jong. But Frankie de Jong, again, it seems like, just keep an eye out there. These guys have been looking into Frankie de Jong. The Frankie de Jong saga for me is just another one of those long ones, like Sancho and Bruno, and we try to get them in. You don't know what the player wants. Whether, because initially we thought that he was going to love coming back to the Gaffer because they worked together in Ajax and all of that stuff, but then it wasn't the case. Barcelona were broke, didn't want to pay him, he didn't want to leave because he wanted his money. And then he was also saying that he's comfortable, he's happy at Barcelona, which I absolutely understood, because there's a certain love story with the Dutch and Barcelona. Johan Cruyff, De Jong, I was, I put all those things together. So I was just thinking, this guy doesn't want to leave Barcelona. And I'm okay with it. Like, I get it. But now, De Ligt is there, Mazraoui is there, Anthony is there, Xerxes is there. Xerxes, De Ligt, and Mazraoui, same team. Like, they used to be in the same team. They are boys. And then you look at De Ligt, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Mazraoui, Anthony, who else? Yeah. These guys were with the Gaffer at Ajax. So there's a family reunion happening at Manchester United. Whether it's going to be for the good or for the bad, we are yet to see. But things are happening. So I don't know with De Jong whether this deal is actually going to fall through, because Barcelona are a very tricky customer sometimes, and I love them. They're my team. It's the other team it's the team that I support in Spain, but they have this financial situation that I think puzzles a lot of us, and we don't even know how they make some of the signings, because, hey, it is what it is. But the Frankie de Jong situation, I honestly don't buy it. They keep saying that Manchester United have never cooled off interest on Frankie de Jong. Now, the only reason why I could say maybe this is true is because the Ugarte situation has sort of died out. It is quiet, but there's a story there, because it seems like Jadon Sancho could, or there's a potential of him leaving, So there is a deal that could happen there, because here's the scenario. PSG is still looking into bringing in Jadon Sancho. They are. And they're also looking into parting ways with Ugarte. But the price that they've slapped on Ugarte is not good. Manchester United just feel like, it's a bit too much. And Manchester United as well, I think they've slapped the price tag on Jadon Sancho, which these guys think also is too much. So there has to be a conversation that needs to be had between the two clubs. You know what I mean? There has to be a conversation. Yo, reduce your price. Yeah, you reduce your price too. Yeah, we want the same player. You want my player, I want your player. Let's make it happen. You know what I mean? Reduce. I don't know if they're going to do that, but that is a story. And then here's another one that just fucking blew my mind. I don't know what it is about players that are used to be linked with Manchester United and somehow find themselves coming at Manchester United. I'm having one of those moments where it's like a fantasy. You know, certain, I won't lie to you, Mazraoui, De Ligt, the time when we linked with him, that time when he was from Ajax and we're like, this nigga needs to come to Manchester United. Remember that time? That time I wanted De Ligt. That was a fantasy. He left and went to Juve. Remember, Mazraoui, personally, I wanted him just because this guy, when I was looking at him during AFCON, World Cup, like, this guy is lit. You know, this guy is on it. So I was just like, why not? You know, why not? Different. Rafinha is another one that before he went to Barcelona, I mean, I remember thinking and looking at our squad and I'm like, man, we need a Brazilian like Rafinha. Brazilian that makes things happen. You know what I mean? We went for Anthony. Unfortunately for Anthony, I'm sorry, his time is gone. I know he made that he did that interview where he said that this season is going to be different, where he's going to be scoring goals. It's almost like he made a promise to the United fans. I feel like that promise is too little, too late, because this is his third season. If he doesn't get game time, like if he's not up to par with the other wingers, we are never going to see those numbers. Those numbers will never happen because you will not play. So at this point, my friend, you have to do something wild. You have to. I believe Anthony needs to go to Scott McTominay, and ask him, yo, dog, how do you train? Because Scott McTominay is a super trainer. I think that has now been a thing where people understand. Scott McTominay is a super trainer. He's a super trainer to the point that his training actually gets him into the starting lineup. So Anthony needs to go and, you know, take a page out of Scott McTominay's book and train like a motherfucker. He needs to. Because I just don't see him getting into that squad. I see him playing the Carabaos and the, you know, these small teams, competitions. Like, I don't see him featuring in those good games, you know, the games that actually matter. I don't see that. And that is a problem. And now this is where everything is coming in, because there is still a story happening with Anthony. I think Anthony still might leave Manchester United. I know he did the interview, but I still have this feeling that we're going to move on with him. Because you look at Liverpool. Liverpool got rid of Carvalho. They parted ways with him. They just bought him 2022. You know, people are getting rid of players they just bought. So I'm thinking the sooner we get rid of Anthony, the better. Because if there's a possibility of us bringing in Rafinha, Premier League proven, Barcelona tearing it up there, like, he's going to offer us something different. And he knows in the Premier League that it's different. You know, in Barcelona, he's enjoying himself. There's freedom, you know, there's flair play there. Not fair, but flair. You know, they dribble. There's that attitude of, like, the players express themselves in the La Liga. In the Premier League, when you try to express yourself, you get shut down. Especially if you don't execute what you wanted to do. So Rafinha knows that. Rafinha has proven it in the Premier League. So he will come into Manchester United and do a fucking amazing job. My only thing is, if he comes in, then he might disrupt the whole Ahmad and the youngsters that are coming in, you know. But he definitely is going to be a player that's going to add competition. That's going to make a lot of guys look over their shoulder and be like, damn, if I don't play, if I don't produce, I'll be out of here. This guy will take over. So there is that story with Rafinha. I don't know if it has got a lot of weight. I just thought I need to bring it out there because it's something that I read. Keep an eye out for it. You never know. But yeah. And like I said, with the Casemiro situation, because it seems like Casemiro is going to stay, I don't have a problem with it. I know a lot of people are skeptical and are afraid or nervous with Casemiro, but I believe Casemiro is invaluable. He's priceless at this moment. Like, I know what I'm saying is just going to cringe a lot of you. Like, Ben, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about, dude? Did you see how heavy he looks and blah, blah, blah? yo, there's a quality that Casemiro possesses that not a lot of players in our team have, and you need it. I can tell you right now, Bruno is the only player maybe that has that quality, and maybe the butcher. There is something. There's an elite mentality. There's an elite professionalism. There's this I am above the rest thing. Like Casemiro is Casemiro. Please, let's put some respect on that man. That man has got 4 Champions Leagues, if not 5. Played in one of the best midfield trios of all time. Like, let's relax. Let's relax. And Casemiro is another player that needs to play. He needs to play. He needs to play. I'm not saying that we need to force him in, no, but he needs to play. If we're not going to bring in Ugarte, Casemiro sits. He stays there. I am not even having any negotiations or talking and saying with anybody. No. Casemiro. If we're not bringing in Ugarte, if we're not bringing in that guy or CDM, Casemiro stays. I don't want to hear anything about Saudi Arabia or what, because that CDM position has been our kryptonite or has been our weakness ever since Carrick left, Michael Carrick. It's been a problem. Either we bring in somebody we don't replace, or we don't bring a player and then we have to put in players that can't do the job. It has been a disaster. And when we brought Casemiro in, it was like, oh, thank God. Now all of a sudden people are turning on him after one season. Like, really? Really? Come on, guys. Come on. No, not one season. It's actually 3 seasons. Wait, Casemiro came at the same time as Anthony? He came in that. Did he? Yeah, he came during. He came when Ronaldo was here. So crazy. It seems like it's so far away, but you know. So if we're not looking into bringing in another CDM or another midfielder, I do not want to hear anything about Casemiro leaving. I'm sorry, because the moment that happens, then we're vulnerable. And then that's when now we're gonna start putting players there, and we're gonna start getting upset and complaining, and then going to the gaffer saying, "Hey, you didn't bring this player, you didn't do that." If we're not thinking into it, if Ineos is not thinking of bringing in another midfielder, keep Casemiro. That is all I have to say when it comes to Casemiro. But thank you everybody for listening to the Glory Reds podcast. It's your boy Don Benito. Please drop a like, please share, hit that notification bell. Hit it. Hit it. Hit it. Hit it. You know, please. We're trying to grow our channel. We're trying to get to 50 subscribers. Can you believe that? We're begging you guys for 50 subscribers. Please do the right thing and just subscribe. And that's your boy Don Benito, and I'm out.